We are starting today's episode of our draft only franchise on NBA 2K23 by jumping right into the action. Now, I did try and record an intro before the gameplay of this episode, but turns out, as I come back and I'm now in editing, that I did not actually press record. So, no intro here. So we're going to just be watching this game play out, and that's going to be pretty much the entirety of the episode. Now, one thing that did happen in the intro was I tried to implement a suggestion that was from our last video of this series, and that was to play Ruben Reese. I gave him a game, and I watched it off camera, just as I was eating dinner one of these last few days, just to see if Ruben Reese could maybe give us a jolt off the bench. It was a really good suggestion, and I definitely thought it was worth a try. But it did not go well, and part of my intro was showing the box score. He shot 1 of 11, and he only played 16 minutes. He was playing behind Jackson Baldwin in place of Christian Brown, and it just did not go well. So that experiment ended after just one game. I think he has something messed up with his tendencies. He has a really high shot tendency, and just his shot selection isn't good. So I do appreciate the suggestion, and I'm sorry to, I believe the name was Tyrone who suggested it, that it looks like I ignored it because there's no gameplay or evidence that I did, but I promise I did try it. I just wasn't actually recording when I showed the proof that I actually tried it. Now, getting here into this game, one thing that I wanted to do later on in this season, but I think the lack of an intro of this episode will help me do here in this game, is I want to, I think, have maybe one game a season where we just watch the entirety of the game. I think when I pull up the clips of a game, you really kind of miss a lot of what happens in a game, right? You're seeing all the made baskets, and I've been trying to incorporate more misses lately and not just, you know, buckets and turnovers pretty much. But I really want you guys to get a good idea of how this team plays, and I think the best way to do that is just to show you a complete game. Now, this isn't something I'm going to be doing often. I think probably once per season, just a quick check-in on how the games are, you know, in full. That's going to result in a longer episode. I think it's going to be like probably just under an hour, but I think, like I said, it will add value so you guys can see how this team actually plays, like possession by possession, because you don't see a lot of the bad possessions like we're seeing here. Jalen Duren, of course, cleans it up, so it probably would have actually made the cut video either way, but this way, I think you get a better picture of just maybe how bad this team is. Of course, if we end up losing this game, we might actually have a good game, which we do occasionally have in this series, but it has, for the most part, been a struggle. Baldwin with it. He's going to run a little bit of pick and roll with Jalen Duren, my favorite action we have as a team, and Jalen Duren is going to finish through the contact and one for our center, who has arguably been the best player on our team this season. I know we give a lot of love to Jackson Baldwin, and rightfully so. He is going to be the man that if we ever end up winning a championship on this series, it's going to be largely in part to him. But Jalen Duren here in year 2 has been just as good as Baldwin for sure. Luka, he's making this 3 off the dribble. Tough shot for him, but he is one of the best players in the game, and certainly somebody capable of making that shot multiple times if we keep giving it to him. Baldwin, he's got a smaller matchup tonight. I hope he can take advantage of that as Haywood misses the 3. Ellis pushing in transition. Hardaway Jr. to Doncic, back to Hardaway. Trying to isolate on Baldwin, but he's a very tough defender to get past for sure. His defense has been impressive in this first season, but Haywood falling asleep allows slow man Luka to cut right by him and get the buckets. Luka pretty much as many points already in this game as our entire team. More pick and roll action here. Baldwin taking a tough shot. It is off the mark. Rebounded there by Jaden Hardy, somebody that I really liked coming out of the draft in real life, and I think he definitely showed flashes last year, this time picking up the assist to Christian Wood. Feeding Baldwin in the post here on this possession. He gets right to the rim and gets it to fall. What a play there from Jackson Baldwin. Thought he had a man in the corner, but hey, if you can take it yourself, then by all means do it, young fella. Christian Wood from the wing trying to drive it in on Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren does a nice job stopping that drive, and it's picked off by Jackson Baldwin. In transition, he feeds Haywood, who gets the layup to go over Luka Doncic. Baldwin currently leading our team in assists per game, which is nice to see. We see him take a lot of shots, but he still tries to find teammates when he can, when he feels confident that they'll make it, which, to be honest, isn't super often with this year 2 squad. Hardy gets that first free throw to go after drawing the foul on his drive. That also ties this game up at 15 apiece as we near the midway point of this first quarter. Another thing that I like about maybe watching the very occasional game like this is gives me time to more commentate, not necessarily just only on the action, but kind of how I'm feeling about every player, the team in general. More of a laid-back commentary kind of feel when you're watching the entirety of a game rather than it always being, you know, something going on at all times. Nice shot there by Baldwin. But I think, yeah, the main thing that I'm taking away from this season is that I probably haven't given quite enough credit to Duren. I try to give him love for the impact that he makes all the time, of course, but I've been treating this team as just like it's Baldwin's team, and that's not necessarily the case. It's more JB and Duren's team. And honestly, Jalen Duren, as we see him there with the fancy little dunk, is just as important to our future, honestly. Maybe not just as important, but he, I think, is just the kind of center that I typically like to have in 2K. There are centers that, you know, like to get fed the ball in the post and make all these moves, and ironically enough, we actually have our small forward doing a bunch of that action. Nice finish from Jalen Duren. I'm hyping him up, and he's actually making some plays while I'm doing it. This is just perfectly fitting. But a guy who's going to get extra possessions on the boards, a guy who's not going to allow a ton of offensive rebounds on the defensive end, a guy who can block shots for sure. He's not maybe the best in that. Maybe you could strive for someone a little bit better than in that, but that's just nitpicking. I think he shoots an extremely high percentage from the field because he takes pretty much putback shots. He's a guy who has a really big impact on the team and doesn't need a ton of possessions to do it. He's just kind of, we run the pick and roll for him, and he gets a ton of offensive rebounds, and he's a really, really productive player on just those kind of scoring opportunities, and I love him as the center of our future. But apart from those two, I'm really not sold on anybody. Andrew Nembhard, who we see here taking this mid-range shot that just rattles out, is somebody that I've probably been honestly pretty disappointed. I honestly thought after our expansion draft that we had two pieces, like for sure, of the future of our franchise, and it was Jalen Duren, who I just mentioned has been all that and more for us as Bradford Reeves finishes a nice cutter play, and then there was Andrew Nembhard. Now Nembhard certainly has some strengths. I think when he's in a passing mood, he's good at it. He also has the needle threader badge, which is good because there are a lot of turnovers. We actually haven't seen a ton today, but where our team will just throw it straight to the other team, and I think having the needle threader badge does maybe make that happen a little bit less. but he has no shooting badges, and it really shows. He's not a terrible shooter. His 3-point shot is either B+ or A-. I can't remember. Bradford Reeves, 5 quick points. Talk about him later. He's definitely somebody that's been heating up as the season goes along. But back to Andrew Nembhard. He's just... sometimes he's just not in the mood to pass, and he just wants to be a scorer, and he's just not good at it, man. I can't remember the last time we had a game where Andrew Nembhard shot well. Part of the reason he was benched, because when you have a guy like Jackson Baldwin in the starting lineup, how useful is a point guard whose offensive skill set is mostly just passing when the ball's going to be in Jackson Baldwin's hands most of the time. And so that's obviously why we switched to Deon Haywood. Now, that's been mixed results as well, as Haywood, although he is in theory a better shooter, his lack of badges has also led to him kind of being cold. He's 0 for 1 from deep tonight. He did get that layup to fall in transition. But there he is, Andrew Nembhard. That's not a bad shot at all. A guy with B+, A-, 3, taking a wide open 3-pointer, I'm fine with it. I don't mind that shot at all. It just does not fall for this man so far this season. I was more impressed with him last year than I have been this year for sure. Just, I guess, getting pushed more into an off-ball role on our starting lineup just hasn't suited him well. So that's why I pushed him to the bench, where he does have more of an on-ball, role. He's really the facilitator for all these shooters around him. He's got 3 guys with either A or A+ 3-point shooting around him. It's his job to feed them the ball. But just like I said, sometimes he's not in the mood to be that facilitator. He's in the mood to be a scorer, and that's usually when he gets in trouble. Is a nice step back in the mid-range from Christian Braun. Will trim this lead to 3. Going forward to maybe now some other players on our bench as Dallas re-extends the lead to 6. Bradford Reeves, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about him a little bit. He's somebody that kind of started off the year cold, but he has gotten hot. He's up to shooting around 40% from deep. Terrible turnover there, which is exactly what we want. He's kind of... I don't think he's quite at 40% yet, but every episode when I check on the box scores, and I did preview him to start this episode again, I just didn't have the recording started, which was a mistake I have not made in quite some time, but I made it here today. Bradford Reeves, it just continues to climb and climb. He's getting hotter and harder, and I think he's maybe the lone exception of a guy who doesn't have shooting badges but has still had some ability to shoot for us this year. So that really makes me excited for his future. I've honestly considered starting him when I was making the lineup change to put Ruben Reese in, and I was considering different options. I honestly did consider starting him. The only problem is I also like the way Cam Reddish plays, and so I don't want to bench him just because I want to get another player in the starting lineup. Like, if he was playing poorly and Reeves was playing well, then yeah. But I'm not going to bench somebody who's honestly has probably been the 3rd best player on our team in Cam Reddish. Just the 2-way impact he provides. He doesn't take bad shots unless it's at the end of a shot clock, and he kind of has to. And so, but I do think going forward, maybe in the long term, I do like Bradford Reeves as a potential starting shooting guard. Just needs to get better defensively. If Reeves wasn't such a liability defensively, he'd probably be starting. But like I said, the 2-way impact is what's kind of keeping Reddish ahead of him so far this season. It's taken a not a great look here with 13 seconds left on the clock. Definitely should have waited for a better shot chance there from Reeves, but as we get to the end of the first quarter here, we're going to get one more shot. It will be off. We're down by just 1 to this Dallas squad. These are 2 teams that are in the hunt for the playoffs, but definitely not guaranteed to get in. I think we're on the outside looking in for the play-in tournament, and I think Dallas is currently in the play-in tournament, if I remember correctly. So, 2 teams in pretty similar record, you know, stratospheres here. Not a great way to start the second quarter there from Jackson Baldwin with the turnaway shot. Let's talk more about Jackson Baldwin and everything that we've seen from him. You're going to see a lot more of his misses today. I only show you maybe 1 or 2 of his misses in a regular episode. Of course, he takes almost 30 shots a game. The dude takes a ton of shots, and he misses a lot. And a lot of them are like that. This is a dude who I think this episode will finally illustrate more than any of the others. How good he is in an episode is really pretty much just determined by how aggressive he is in attacking the basket. I don't think I've seen a team successfully yet stop him from going to the basket. The closest was actually the Summer League Championship game against the Orlando Magic, where he was trying to back people down on the post. They were just too strong. He had Herb Jones on him, and Herb Jones was actually getting him some fits. And he just kept taking hook shots, which he just kept missing. But for the most part, so far in his young career, when he's attacking the basket, he's unstoppable. When he's settling for, you know, fadeaways and stuff like that, he's just not nearly as good. Now, I do think, goodness, that is not the shot we were looking for, my man. I do think that, you know, he's going to get better as a shooter, and eventually those shots aren't going to be so bad. And honestly, even sometimes on those turnaround mid-rangers, he's kind of cooking a little bit. But I feel like he's better when he at least backs him down for a dribble or two and then turns and fades away. If he just immediately catches, then turns around and fades away, it just doesn't go as well for him. He's so strong, and he's so much bigger than most of his matchups, especially today's in Tim Hardaway Jr. But the man just needs to attack. And of course, I could edit this and say it's all tendency based, right? I could edit his tendencies to make sure he always attacks, but that's not something I like to do. I like each player to play like how they want to play, not how I want them to play. You know, that because that means not every single player is going to probably play up to his potential. And goodness, I mean, I was talking about Duran earlier, and he's showing out. Now I'm talking about Baldwin's bad shot selection, and he is definitely showing you. This is a really good showcase of Baldwin's questionable shot selection at times. But it's like different game to game. Like, he'll shoot 6-7 three-pointers in a game as he actually makes that one. He created some space there. And then the next one he'll shoot like 1. And he'll be attacking the basket, and he'll be awesome. And you know, I like that he's not the same every game. It adds a little bit of a wild card, but at the same time, man, like, he's just got to realize that one thing he does at an elite level, and one thing he does at a pretty much far below average level. And so just do the thing you're elite at. What is that shot? What is that shot? Dude, I should stop talking. He's like manifesting my words right in front of me. But I think part of that could also be his IQ. There's 2 things that were below a B coming out of the draft. The 2 things in the C range were IQ and 3-point shooting, and those 2 have really kind of combined and come to a head for him here. Haywood going to be forced to take a tough shot. That's 1-3 I don't actually expect him to make. But Haywood, I will say, I guess we're just kind of going through the roster player by player, and I'm giving my opinion on him at this point. That's what we're doing as we watch this game. Haywood, it's been a little bit disappointing. I really liked him after the Summer League. I thought he was awesome in Summer League. He was making shots. And I really wish I would have recorded the first game that he started, because he was awesome in that game too. He was making shots, and, you know, the plan I had to kind of let the point guards play more of their natural roles, Haywood being more off-ball shooter. Nice dunk by Baldwin there. And Nembhard being more playmaker. It was perfect. It worked so well in that first game that I watched off camera. But then I turn on the camera and try to record an episode for you guys, and it's just not been as smooth since. And so this is a team that I honestly think we just need to get to next season to really see if some of these guys are going to be shooters. Just to see what their badges do. I think Nembhard could become a lot better of a scorer. if he were to get a couple of badges to help him out. Haywood, I think, would be an awesome shooter if he got, you know, catch and shoot. That would be a really important badge for him to acquire. And so I like the I like the suggestion to give Ruben Reis a chance. Again, it didn't work out well. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good suggestion. Honestly, I don't know if lineup changes are going to help this team at this rate. I mean, the one that we could try is we could give Karis LeVert another chance, maybe some time on the bench. Give him some clarity that he shouldn't be taking 20 shots a game anymore for this team. I don't know if I even like that idea. The best idea was definitely to give Ruben Reis a chance for sure, and that I'm glad it was suggested because I wasn't really thinking of it. It just sadly didn't work out. I honestly think the only thing that's going to help this team improve is people getting badges, which unfortunately isn't going to happen until the offseason. I don't think 2K gives people badges. That was a funky little alley-oop there. During the season, from my experience, I don't think they do. Maybe you can see a subtle change there. I know you can see like an up or two in overall throughout the season, and then they'll just get an even further increase in overall in the offseason progression period. But I think for badges, yeah, it's all increased in the offseason. I could be wrong there, though. I haven't played a ton of 2K franchise. When I'm playing, you know, when I played 2K prior to my YouTube channel, it was mostly my career. And so I don't have a ton of experience with the franchise mode. I've played it a little bit, of course. But yeah, and I think that's just what we're going to have to wait for. Obviously, another draft as well is going to help this team out as well. Our next opportunity to add talent. But I just think it's too early to tell on guys like Haywood and even Brown, who played about half the season for us last year, maybe a little bit more than half. But this is his first year being a full-time contributor. And as you see here, you see the problem. This possession just showed it perfectly of Dion Haywood playing with the backups. Just nobody's a playmaker, so you just see people making passes for the sake of making passes. Nobody's getting open, forces us into a tough shot. And then, as he so often does, Jalen Duren just bails us out of a bad possession. I love Jalen Duren so much. His offensive rebounding is incredible. There's going to be one man that could eventually save this second unit if he doesn't become a starter. I do think it's Reeves. He does seem to have the most kind of off the dribble ability, kind of create your own shot ability. It's not great yet, but again, speaking of badges and just kind of player development, I think he could become that player. Maybe he could be the kind of guy that could lead a second unit. Definitely not with his passing, of course, but with his shot creation ability, because right now, not only do we lack, you know, the passing in our second unit, but we don't have much self-shot creation either. That was really what Karis LeVert was in there for at the start of the year. That's why I didn't have Bradford Reeves, you know, getting minutes for the first 12 or so games. That was obviously a mistake. I just liked what I saw from Haywood in the preseason, so I decided to give him the shot while Reeves was injured. But it seems that as the season's gone along, it's become clear that Bradford Reeves is better than Dion Haywood. I guess another player we can talk about that we haven't talked about yet is Felder. Let's talk about our backup center, Felder. Felder is awesome. I love Felder. He is, I think, a better shot blocker even than Jalen Duren. Now, that's probably the only thing he does better than Jalen Duren. Is I don't know why we have both Felder and Duren on the court at the same time. This size, I think this is the first time I've seen it all season. I have the center minutes divided out evenly to be exactly 48, so that we never have this. I think the reason that actually happened is because Jalen Duren got his personal takeover, and the CPU won't sub guys out when their takeover's on, typically. And so they kept him on, but Felder was scheduled to come on, so we have a two-center lineup. Definitely don't like the two-center lineup. It's good for rebounding. Oh my gosh, Haywood. What a sell. What a sell. But it's not good for anything else. But Felder, he's a good shot blocker. He's a good rebounder as well. Really good defensive center, and that's really all I want from my second center. Can you make the layups around the baskets, and can you play good defense? And if you can do that, you're perfectly fine backup center. So I think center is probably the one position that I feel most confident that will be the same going into Season 3. Like, I don't think Felder's irreplaceable. I think he could be upgraded by somebody who maybe has a little bit more scoring prowess. I think he's D's across the board on offense. Here's he scores on this pick and roll. But as long as you can make those shots, which I feel like pretty much every center in the game can make, I'm fine with it. I don't need shot creation out of my center. I don't need crazy good shots. I just need you to make the easy ones and play good defense and rebound. And I think he does a good job of that. Now let's talk about Christian Brown actually here now that he has the ball in transition. Kick into Reeves. That three is good. Let's go. Reeves does have, I think, corner specialist is one of his shooting badges, so I definitely like to get him looks in the corner. But Christian Brown, I think, has been maybe a little bit disappointing from three. He did make one earlier in this episode, but I feel like he's been pretty bad from three. Nice defense there from Nimhard. But he's been really good from the mid-range, and has even shown some flashes of some drives where he has like a spin move that he'll employ to get an open shot. So when I drafted him in the expansion draft, it was to be a three-point shooter. You know, typical white guy shoots a three, you know. That's, yeah, super stereotypical, but that's what I wanted. He had some good positional size as well. I believe he's 6'8" or 6'7", something like that. So if he could be, you know, a 3-and-D off the bench kind of player. The 3 hasn't quite been there, neither has the D yet, but has shown some abilities off the dribble. He does have many magicians, so that's no surprise. Players being good at the one thing that their that they have badges for is no surprise in 2K. I've talked about it already, I think, in the Magic episode, which was that just last episode? I think it was. 2K seems just a little bit too reliant on badges for me to be able to do certain things, but it's not the worst thing. It just means I need to really care about badges. Although I don't feel like I did a bad job of caring about badges in the last draft. Like, a big part of the reason we drafted Bradford Reeves was the fact that he had 5 badges. You know, he was out of the top, you know, 3 guys who were obviously players that I took from 2K share. They weren't generated by 2K. Out of the guys that were generated by 2K in the class, he was one of the best in terms of badges out there. Looks like we're going to be ending this second quarter. Maybe start commentating a little bit on the game again. I'll commentate on the game much more as we get into the second half. Just with the first half, the game's not really on the line yet or anything, you know, so we can take the time to have a little bit more leisure talk about players on the roster. But 5 seconds left here in the half. To the rim. Nice job there to get a bucket with 1.3 remaining. So Dallas was up by 1 after the first, now up by 4. So they've very slightly won both the quarters here in this half, but we're sticking here with them. Yeah, they won, yep, the first by 1 quarter and the second by 3. But here at halftime, we're definitely still in this game. I want to see Baldwin take better shots here in the second half. I think his shot selection in the first quarter was excellent. Second quarter, terrible. And so we'd like to see him get back to that first quarter shot selection. Reddish here with it. He tries to dish to Okiki, but it is tipped away. I guess 2 more players that we haven't talked about are either of our power forwards. My thoughts on Royce O'Neal are this. They're very simple. Royce O'Neal is not going to play power forward for us next year if I can help it. He just isn't impactful in any way. And I think part of the reason our second unit struggles to score is because Royce O'Neal, despite the fact that he's an A 3-point shooter, just never shoots. Haywood here. Too strong on the 3-ball. And so, don't like him. Chuma Okiki, I do like. His field goal percentage isn't great. It's not great. He doesn't shoot well in simulation, and simulation is a big part of the regular season. But at the end of the day, I think, unlike with like a baseball series where I think how people simulate is more important than how they play in the episodes, I think it's still more important to judge how people play in the episodes here in this game. Dude, that was such a terrible miss by Haywood. How can he not shoot? He's got a three-pointer. How is he that bad at a wide open corner three? Dude almost airballed that crap. But back to Okiki. I think it's more important how they play in the episodes because eventually we're going to be a playoff team. And we're going to watch every single one of those playoff games, at least in some capacity. Maybe not the entirety of all those games. But at the end of the day, we will watch all those games. During up to 16 points tonight as we start the third. Let's go. It's been awesome. And I do like the way Okiki plays. He has sharp, goodness. He has smart shot selection. Oof. And despite the fact that his three-pointer isn't great, I feel like he makes a good portion of the ones that he takes. Like, more than a guy like Haywood who has a three-pointer, you know what I mean? And I think he plays really good defense. Now, he's a little bit undersized to play the four. I think, what is that shot? Bro thinks he's Steph Curry. 1 for 4 for 3. Goodness, shooting below 50%. So far, Baldwin has been quarter 2 Baldwin, not quarter 1 Baldwin. That's not something I like to see. Wow, Luka. Good night. This guy is hard to guard. I haven't been commentating too much on his performance. He's been tearing us up. Been too busy talking about my players. Of course, we will get to commentating on the game here. But I did decide at this point in the game to change it up on Luka because Haywood couldn't guard him. So I'm going to put our best player on him. Let's see if Baldwin can guard Luka. We haven't really... Reddish also actually could be... I forgot that I chose Reddish in the end over Baldwin. I didn't want Baldwin to get into foul trouble. That's why I chose Reddish. Because even though he's kind of struggling right now, please, Haywood. Oh my gosh. They're just leaving him open. They're just leaving him open. He's 1 for 10. What is that? Nice defense from Okiki. But yeah, that reminds me to just finish my thought process on Okiki. I think he plays better in the episodes than he does in simulation. And in the end, that is important come playoff time. And I think he's a playoff player. Will he be the starting player for us? I don't know. Oh my gosh, Baldwin, he finally attacked the rim, but he got stuffed. Can't do anything right now. The Mavericks, who aren't even a good defensive team, have just flustered him. I don't know. Yeah, I think Chuma Okiki probably more of a bench player long term would be my projection right now, but I do think he's a long term player. As Baldwin gets the oop, nicely done. That kind of is my thoughts on everyone on the team. So I guess we can now focus more on the game. We got 8 minutes left here in the third. It's a 10-point Baldwin game. Bald game, dude. What am I saying right now? Now we got a little bit of coming back to do just because we've been terrible to start this third. What is that shot? I mean, I like Jaden Hardy, so I'm not going to complain too hard about it, but what is that shot? All right, we have to get Baldwin going in these next few minutes, man. We are not going to win this game if Baldwin isn't going to pick things up for us. We need him. There's Cam Reddish on the drive. Nice finish. Around a bunch of Maverick players. He's just kind of able to slither his way right on through them. Luka. Reddish is on him. He blows by him. Finds a wide open Jaden Hardy. This time, though, no good. Made the much more difficult shot, but couldn't get that one to fall for him. That's a nice feed to Baldwin. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. 9-point ball game here. Luka. Not going to be so easy to just score in the post over Reddish now. He actually has good size there. He does correctly leverage him there for that bucket, though. Haywood has it. Kicks to Baldwin in. On the wing, I should say. He's trying to drive it in. Help defense comes. Reddish. Why is he like fading away there? I don't feel like he was that contested. Still down by 11 here. Luka, step back three. That is cash. Good night. Everything going right for Luka here. I like the first couple of possessions of Reddish on him, but the last couple haven't been great. Reddish from three. No good once again. He did that little fadeaway thing as well. Which I just feel like he hasn't needed to do. Goodness. And then the Mavericks are just rubbing it in our face by making all these threes on the other end, dude. This third quarter, we have fallen apart on both ends of the court, man. Reddish, that time it goes in, and he didn't do that stupid little fadeaway animation. So you love to see that. Dozier. He is good for three again. The Mavericks can't miss, man. What's going on? Completely different ball game here in the second half. Mavericks must have had some good talks there in the halftime locker room. Reddish out here. Guess he's probably the leader of the unit that's on the court right now. Taking a lot of shots. He's got 5 quick points here for us. Trying to get us out of this slump. And springing it up the court. Felder, maybe not the best perimeter defender. I will say that. Talked about how I like his defense before, but it's not the greatest on the perimeter here, and he fouls Luka on the drive. Luka 2 for 2 here from the stripe. Reeves, that is off the mark. That was a good look for him, though. Definitely would like to get more looks like that as this third quarter winds down. Hopefully we can start to eat into this lead. Luka has takeover. Not a pretty sight. And with Reddish off the court, we're back to small guy guarding him. Reeves. He loses it, but is picked up by Nemhard, and who is fouled. Kind of a mess of a possession there. We get bailed out with the foul. Nemhard. He's running some pick and roll. Dishes to Reeves in the corner. In the wing, I should say. Pick and roll as the shot clock is coming to a close. Dish inside to Felder, and that's good. Nice possession there with no time left on the shot clock. Green with it. He has Luka. Luka gets the double. Immediately passes out of it. Those are running a pick and pop. Trying to get to the rim. He gets fouled in the basket. You're joking, man. That free throw is up and good. Nemhard top of the key. Gets the Felder screen. He's pulling from deep. Those are the kind of shots I don't like out of him. He's looking for his own shot is not the best way for this second unit to create baskets here. It's just not. We can do much better. We have better shooters. We can get better looks from themselves, and That's what I'm talking about. Nemhard is just, sometimes he's doing that like all game. Sometimes, I feel like this game he's been a little bit better of a distributor for sure. Some games he's just shot hunting like that, off screens all the time. Not my favorite thing about him in his stint here with the second team. He is too strong from 3. And I know it's probably not the best idea to have the entirety of the second unit playing together. And in real life, you have starters mixed with bench players. And definitely, we will be doing like these custom rotations at some point here with the paint feature where you can say what you want the rotation to look like for every minute on the court. We will be doing that for sure. But I just don't think that the team has enough good players yet for me to really do that. Like, is it really going to be that much better if Cam Reddish is playing with the starters? We saw that, and it was for a couple of baskets, but yeah, it was also missing a bunch as well. And so, I don't know. I just think until we get maybe a second shot creator on the team, or we can have, you know, one of insert player name or Baldwin be on the court at all times, I just don't think the custom lineups are really going to help us out too much. Maybe they would. Maybe we'll try it in year 3 regardless. But Dozer forced to jack up a 3 and it's off. Need a basket here. Come on. 0 points. 2.5 minutes. You got to be joking me. It's like the second drought of the quarter too. We had a drought at 63 for sure. Jeez, Nemhard. You're going to get a foul and go to the line though. Nemhard, 2 for 2 from the line. All right. Stop at another bucket. Let's be at least within 15 to start the 4th. I feel like that's a reasonable goal. No. Dang it. All right, we need a 3 to be within 15. Guess we still have time for a couple of possessions. Let me know if you guys thought an episode like this was useful, where we just kind of see the entirety of a game without any of the cuts. If it gave you a better idea of how this team plays actually, you know, on a possession by possession basis. Again, not something that I want to do very often, not only because it makes me commentate for an hour rather than, you know, 20 or 30 minutes, but also it's just I don't want to have you guys watch a whole hour just to get one episode. You know, I do like to keep my episodes around 30 minutes if I can help it. And hey, look at that. Within 15 points. We just got to get the stop here to end the 3rd. 15 is attainable in 1 quarter for sure. By this team, I don't know. But it is attainable. 15 can be something you can come back from. So, and that's going to be it. 90 to 75. Not a great quarter for us. We scored below 25. We allowed, what? They were 55, so we allowed 35 points that quarter. Scored below 25 ourselves. Not great. Not feeling too awesome about that quarter, obviously. So, here we go. Start of the 4th. It's going to start with a wild Hardaway 3. Nemar here in with the starters to start the 4th. I don't mind that at all. Okiki fouled on that aggressive push to the inside. I like this start on both sides of the ball here of this 4th. Chipping away slowly at this lead. 13 points is the deficit. Hardy has a good look from 3, but it's just off the mark. Duran with the board, and we are running. Mavericks played some nice transition D though, so we'll run a play. Duran with it from the top, dishes down low to Reddish. He gets that bucket to go over Hardaway. Nice job. Reddish up to 9 points on 6 shots today. Luka, Reddish guarding him, tries to get by him. He does get to the paint, and Reddish fouled. Baldwin came with the help deep, but that will not matter. Luka gets himself 2 points here. Already 30 here as we start the fourth. This guy's a tough man to guard. Definitely should have put one of Reddish or Baldwin on him sooner in the game for sure. That's just my bad. I'm not against, I should say, making these substitutions. As there it is, Chimonkiki, not a great 3-point shooter, but it feels like he makes his open looks more than a lot of our guys who are better 3-point shooters. Not against doing these custom, rotations or defensive settings. Definitely, I will 100% be doing them come playoff time, whenever we get to that point in the franchise. Just doing them for like every matchup we face in the regular season seems like it would take a bunch of time, and it would make the series better, so I should probably just do it regardless. There, we see a nice bucket from Jackson Baldwin. Him only having 19 at this point in the game is below average for sure. But I probably should start doing that, even though it would take a lot of time, but it's gonna be worth it. No, Baldwin, you just had a good shot. Why are you coming around the next possession and doing that? Come on, my guy. It would help our team play better as well in these episodes if we had these custom defensive settings and stuff. Honestly, for the most part, I feel like there aren't a ton of teams where we match up poorly against, though, if we're being honest as well. But this Mavericks team is definitely an example where you don't want, Nembhard and Haywood guarding him. You'd much rather have guys with more length there for sure. Nice drive by Baldwin. He gets himself a pair of free throws. But it's been in these low to mid-teens here. The deficit, we can't seem to shrink it off of that, as Baldwin's even missing free throws here. Not been his game. When Baldwin isn't playing his best, our chances of winning are so little. We've had an excellent Durant game today too that we've kind of wasted. It was awesome, particularly in the first half. Haven't seen enough just pick and rolls with him, it feels like, in the second half and all. Haywood top of the key to Reddish. We're going to try to feed Baldwin in the post here. It's a good matchup. We should have been going to this against Hardaway so much more often throughout this game. Getting him in the low post. We've been getting him out there near, more the wing. No, we need to be hitting him in the low post. He's got a smaller Tim Hardaway Jr. Haven't been running the right plays, I think, for Baldwin today. Luka. My goodness, Luka has not missed a shot in the second half. Defensive adjustment didn't do jack. Scoring over Baldwin. Over Reddish. The same ease. He was scoring over Haywood. Baldwin pulls up from the mid-range and he's fouled. Thank you, Christian Wood. It remains at 15. If we can't start to trim the lead, we'll eventually simcast it, but I don't think we're quite at that point yet. We've still got a few minutes here to try to trim the lead for sure. Hardaway, that three is bottoms. Lead balloons to 17 for Dallas. We're going to get Baldwin here in the low post again. There we go. This is what I want. Kicks it to Haywood. He's not going to make that. He makes that. That's the one shot he makes. He's falling out of bounds. Let's go. Hardaway with Baldwin on him. This is to Wood. Wood still with it here as the shot clock is winding down. Luka gets doubled, leaving Hardaway Jr. wide open. This time, no good. Get a bucket here, boys. Reddish. The Haywood. Pick and roll with Baldwin. He's got Luka on him. And he decides to do that. No, gosh. Baldwin, man, such a talented player, but he can be so frustrating at times. Just like, back a guy down. You're stronger, you're bigger, you're stronger, and you're doing that. What is, dude? I don't think I've ever said this, but this loss might actually be on Baldwin tonight. Reeves was hitting some shots. No, it's definitely on Haywood. Haywood and Baldwin are the reason we're going to lose this game, honestly. Haywood couldn't hit a shot to save his life. He was given so many wide open looks. And Baldwin decided that he was Kevin Durant this episode and not Giannis. And he's definitely Giannis, you know what I mean? Guy who should be taking 70+% of his shots at least in the paint. Baldwin. Kind of a pick and roll with Duran there, except he didn't really run it. Oh boy. Things not looking good for our Las Vegas Outlaws here at home against the Mavericks. Wood fed in the post. He's fouled by Duran. Points on the board for Christian Wood in this game. It's been a very quiet 20. I don't remember Christian Wood being very impactful in this one, if I'm being honest. Maybe a lot of it was the first half when I was commentating more on the players than the game. Maybe I should have kept commentating on the players for the entirety of this one because we were really close when I was doing that. And ever since I started commentating the game, things have looked really poor for our boys. Not gonna lie, it's been a struggle bus. Beyond Haywood to Okiki. Starting to get a lot closer to the point where I'm thinking we might be simcasting this game. Oh, Dion Haywood made a 3! It is impossible. Oh my goodness. I think he's made 2 shots in a row now after going, what, 1 for 10 or 1 for 11 before that? Something like that. Crazy. Down to 13. Get a stop here. Yeah, not when Luka has his takeover activated, bro. It's just not happening. He's up about to get 40 the next time he scores. I don't like that play. It never results in jack. I might just have to remove it. Right now we just have the base Miami Heat playbook. I need to do some playbook editing because we run that play more often than I would like, which means we run it. Oh my, how did he hit that? He had another terrible shot. You see he's first in both points and assists per game, second in blocks. Among the rookie class, I definitely know that who's ahead of him in blocks. It's going to be Marko Petrovic for sure. He embarrassed us so many times last episode. Snatch blocked us twice, including Jackson Baldwin once. Didn't know Jackson Baldwin was going to get snatch blocked in his entire career. Good night. Kiki, okay. Talked about how I love Okiki's shot selection. That was the first shot I've ever seen Okiki take where I'm like, what the freak was that? How was Baldwin shooting 50%? How? I'm just focusing way too much on his misses, I guess. I don't know. I honestly thought he was shooting below 50% for sure. Luka, my gosh. Every time we maybe have some hope, Luka says, no, you don't. The game's over, young ones. Can Haywood make it 3 in a row? No, he can't. I don't hate that shot, theoretically, from a player with his ability. I just think until he gets the badges, he's not going to hit that shot ever. I'm so excited for the progression. Last season, we didn't have too many players there as we miss on the oop. We didn't have too many players that were really going to, improve a ton. You were excited about Jalen Duren's progression. Nemhard's was maybe a little bit disappointing, but Jalen Duren got a lot better. There wasn't really anybody else who were looking forward to see how much better they got. This year, we've got so much more. Duren could improve again. Nemhard again. Of course, Jackson Baldwin. Gonna improve hopefully a bunch. Reeves, Haywood, maybe Christian Brown now that he has more minutes this year than he had last. He can improve a bit as Okiki's blocked. But yeah, this game's over. We're down to 2 minutes left and we're down by 16. Wood just posterizes Dion Haywood. My goodness, an 8-0 run seals this game. We got it down to 10 and then yeah, that was it. So just gonna simcast the last 2 minutes. This episode's been long enough. Baldwin ends with 29, 4 and 6, 19 and 18 from Duran, but he had like 15 at halftime. Didn't get him involved as much. Like I said, Reeves continues to be somebody that's getting better as the season goes along. Haywood, got to be the reason we lost tonight. He was like he was 1 of 10, and then he hit 2 shots, but it was just too late at that point. Wow, if you look at our 2 point guards combined, 3 for 21. Why are we so bad at that position, dude? Both of our point guards, both in this episode and all season long, have been terrible at shooting the ball. So as we end January, we end up picking up one more win to be against these Seattle Supersonics. 23, 5 and 5 from Baldwin and 25 and 13 from Duran. Okiki was actually pretty dang good in this game. Nemhard sucked at shooting again. Haywood was fine in this game though. 3 of 7 is not bad. With 10 assists, a double-double. Let's go. And so we're now through the month of January. Let's go ahead and take a look at where we stand in the league. In the Western Conference, or I guess in the entire league, we're the 7th. So we'd have the 7th best odds if the lottery was today. Maybe tie with Brooklyn. Maybe we could get 6th best odds. I have no idea how it honestly works with tiebreakers and stuff. But yeah, if you look at West teams below us, there's 4, which means we're 12th in the West. And that's not very good, but it's still within shouting distance here. As you see, Phoenix in 11th and then Dallas in 10th. They do have a 4-game lead on us, or I guess 3.5. So it's not impossible, but unlikely we're going to make the playoffs. So we'll probably continue at this kind of month and episode per pace to finish off this year, unless things change and we do end up in the play-in race. But that's all I've got for this episode. It was a long one. I'll be back soon with a shorter one soon, and I will see you then.